Welcome channel, Christopher Lee. This is Christopher Lee Shreds. Welcome to the in-between jobs edition. Unfortunately for me, I am in between work right now, so fortunately for the channel, though, that gives me a chance to really check out some more ideas that I've had for YouTube that I just haven't had time to execute because I've been busy working. I will find work again, but in the meantime, let's enjoy some YouTubeage. So this is a long overdue review. This is the Ibanez AZES40 that I got for my daughter as a Christmas present back in 2022. And, you know, I've upgraded it recently. I was going to do a demo on it because it didn't really need any upgrading. It just was a great guitar out of the box. You know, when it first came out, people were talking about how it's, you know, quite possibly the greatest beginner guitar ever made. You know, better than a Squire, better than all this, but it does share some of the weaknesses of entry-level guitars. The number one being the trem system. So but I've encountered tuning issues on, you know, entry-level guitars before. My Squire 2 being a major player when it came to bad tuning. I had to swap out the tuning pegs for Fender locking tuners. Well, it didn't have to be Fender, but it made sense because it was a Squire. I got lucky and found for this guitar some drop-in Gotoh. Drop-in. I've no drilling required. It was very satisfying. You know, they're staggered, so the first three are taller and the last three are shorter. You really don't even need to have a string tree on there, but it looks nice anyway. But yeah, these babies cost about $72 or so. You know, probably the last, you know, I bought these a few days before I lost my job. So otherwise, I, you know, probably should have returned them, but it's too late. It's an upgrade for my daughter's guitar. This thing is huge. It really makes it so much more playable. Also removed one of the springs in the back, so it has 2 springs instead of 3. You know, I dialed in the intonation as best I could. I did dial it in with the old tuning pegs on there. It had vintage style tuning pegs, which by all means were great, but you know, even with those tuning, those vintage style, that they kind of lock. They lock on their own, and their own merit. They sort of lock, you know. And if you do it right, you know, you can really reduce the string winds. But I mean, nothing compares to this. Look at those string winds. I don't know if you can see that. There's, you know, 1/2 wind around everything. It's so less string winds, better tuning stability. And for every video I've ever seen of this guitar, whether it's a review or, you know, all the big, you know, YouTube videos, they always say the same thing. Just take out the tremolo. Don't even use it, you know, because it's the HSS. People want to rock. They want to hear the... But to show you the abuse, it's still in tune. So I solved the tuning issue. I solved the, well, I didn't really solve it, but having 2 springs instead of 1 makes it so this thing will flow up as well as go down. So, by all means, it's a much more stable and functional and usable trem system. And then, of course, the advantage of, because I like the classic vintage tuning pegs. I do like them, but restringing them is tedious. You gotta, 3 tuning pegs ahead, you cut the thing, you fold it, you wrap it. You really got to hold it down while you wrap it. I mean, the whole thing is not as fast ever as just a locking tuner. So this is going to help with string changes as far as just if you need to break a string or whatever, then you don't need to. But if you broke a string, this is going to really make string changes go like that. I can have this whole guitar strung up while, if I was racing myself against doing it in a vintage one, I'd have two of the vintage pegs done, and then this whole guitar would be done. The time frame is just ridiculous. But let's hear some tones. This thing has the Dynamax switch. I feel like a lot of other YouTubers have gone through it, but I'll show you the diagram. It's got a lot of variations, tons. When you throw the clean tone, let's see. So this is normal bridge. So we got normal neck, and then the switch. I believe the switch is on this one is these 2 like parallel or in series or something, so it kind of gives it like a darker tone. See, I'm just hitting that switch and it's doing that tone. So here's the 4th position number 4 without the switch. For ceramic pickups, they sound nice. They're bright, they're a little, I guess you might want to say brittle. Could be brittle, I don't know, but I think it sounds nice and clean. Like how you want to strat the sound. Here's the, that's with the switch activated. Not activated. Position 4 sounds good either way. With it activated, it sounds really clean, or not activated. Kind of gives it just a different frequency. And then the middle, not activated. Again, it's a lot cleaner of a tone, and then when you activate it, it kind of adds like a little darker tone to it. Almost a little gain added. Then go to position 2. Again, without it being activated, you get a really clean tone. And once you activate it, kind of gives you like a dirtier tone. And then, of course, in the humbucker position, it doesn't do anything. So that's kind of a quick run through. We'll go through some tones through the line 6 as well, just because I always do. Just to hear, the direct input, because right now I have it mic'd up through the Marshall 6100, and that gives you some good tones, definitely, but it's a different vibe when you go digital. So I like to do both. Out of the box, it is set a little high. Probably could lower it, but you know, it's still. Loud trem system. It's actually. Leave it like that. I like to hang it. It's so much fun. Okay, let's check out those direct tones. this guitar just has so many sounds. And is it the ultimate beginner guitar? Maybe. I mean, you get all the humbuckery noises that you could ask for. You get all the humbucker noises. You get all the clean tones you ask for. You know, those funky, clean, just... So, you know, the combination of just all these different tones you can get out of it, and the fact that it stays in tune! Because there's nothing more disappointing for any beginning guitar player, or, you know, guitarist in general, than a guitar that does not want to hold its tune. It's a battle for intro guitars, and I feel like this guitar was definitely holding its tune, but you couldn't use the trem. And, you know, that's a big disappointment, especially one for, you know, $50 more and maybe a different style. You can get an RG. This one here that I got from my boy, who, he's only 8 when I got it for him. He's 10 now. He still doesn't really play it, but one day it's there waiting for him. But, you know, you get for $50 more a working trem system that holds its tune. You know, so there's no reason that you can't use the trem on the AZ intro models. The AZES40 has a great trem. You just need to fix the tuning stability. And to do that, I present to you the tuners. So, you know, people say, oh, well, it's just for quick string change. It doesn't have anything to do with stability. That's wrong. I've come across too many other examples. My Squire 2 video, you can check that out. That one has locking tuners on it as well. Holds its tune thanks to the tuners. Otherwise, it just wasn't working. So, you know, there's no reason to upgrade if you don't care about a trem, because the tuners on there did work fine. You know, if you don't care about winding up the vintage tuners, then by all means, rock on. If you want quick string changes, and if you want this thing to be just a stable tuning monster, these Gotohs are drop-in. They're made in Japan. They're excellent. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you taking the time to watch it. There'll be more videos coming out because I have more free time. At least for now I do. So thank you for watching. Hit that like and subscribe, and keep rocking.